I think we'll go ahead and move on to our second topic here. And so again, this is another heavily viewer requested topic. These are all viewer requested topics and panel requested topics. The next one we're going to do is move on to 458 SOCOM, and we talked about 450 Bushmaster last week. I'm going to give you guys some information and data on 458 SOCOM, and then feel free to chime in. So I did some research on the round last night. I've been looking at it before. I was kind of interested in it because it's very, very easy to get into. Your 458 SOCOM, it's an 11.63 millimeter round. 50 AE is the parent case, but it is a longer case with a thinner, narrow rim. So you're not using the 50 Action Express brass directly, you're using a variant of it. Ballistics are comparable to a 45-70, depending on the gun you fire through and then your grain choice and so on. Just kind of as a difference between 458 SOCOM and 450 Bushmaster, what I've found, now again, you hand load your own ammo, customize your own ammo, you can make your ammo do whatever you want to. But in general, just grain for grain, 450 Bushmaster has better takedown power between 225 and 250 yards. And the sweet spot for 458 SOCOM is 150 yards or less. Because of the kind of the cartridge it is, you know, 450 Bushmaster and 458 SOCOM can be used in certain states where you might not be able to shoot, you know, an AR, use an AR, or use any kind of a certain type of round. You know, it does open it up because you have a straight walled cartridge. Just talking about some ballistics here for 458 SOCOM. 250 grain soft point will shoot at around 2,150 feet per second. And out of the muzzle, it'll have 2,565 foot-pounds of energy to it. And I don't know if that's a 22-inch barrel or whatever they shot it out of. And I don't even know if you need a 22-inch barrel for 458 SOCOM to get the kind of velocity. You can shoot up to a 600 grain round with 458 SOCOM, which will have 1,000 feet per second of velocity and 1,336 foot-pounds of energy. And you can get, obviously, subsonic rounds for 458 SOCOM if you want to run it suppressed. Now, just real quick, a little bit about the history of 458 SOCOM. What it was is there was a task force Rangers meeting talking about the difficulty that the soldiers had neutralizing members of the opposing forces in Mogadishu during Operation Gothic Serpent. And at that point, word had gotten out that the military might be looking for a thumper round, a better one-shot takedown round for 150 yards or less. And so it looks like some guy named Marty Terweem of Tepu Jutsu designed the cartridge in 2000, and Tony Rumor of Tromix was contracted to build the first 458 SOCOM rifle in February 2001. So it's not a new round. It's been around for a while. Now, the advantages of 458 SOCOM is that it is 100% compatible with the M4 platform, which makes it really easy for those of us that have ARs and M4s to get into. You can use the buffer spring, GI magazines without any kind of modification. Let's see, and yeah, you can use the standard magazine well. Unlike 450 Bushmaster, you don't have to have a single stack follower. And let's see here, you're looking at a 20-round 5.56 NATO magazine will hold 7, 458 SOCOM rounds, and a standard 30-round magazine can hold 10. So that's kind of the percentages you're going to pull out of it. What do you guys think about 458 SOCOM? Have you ever looked into it or thought about it? I've got information on the weapons now I can share with you when we get there, but what are your thoughts on 458 SOCOM?
I've thought about it.
That sounds awesome otherwise.
I have a comment from the YouTube side. Moonbutt says, back to this, get a lever action in 4570. Next topic.
Well, maybe, but then again, I can go to Bear Creek and get an upper for $289, slap it on my
hand. Oh, no.
Gun. I can't get a 4570 lever action for under $300.
I almost, this last week, I almost bought a 458 SOCOM upper for an AR-15, and that's because it didn't have the bolt carrier group or the charging handle, but it was a complete upper, 458 SOCOM, 16-inch barrel for $167.
That's not bad, yeah, because Bear Creek will sell you.
But there was a silver lining. Yeah. It was from Delta Team Tactical, and I decided, you know what, maybe I should do something else.
Never heard of them.
I would buy from Bear Creek. You have other options. Radical Firearms has one also that you can get. I'm not a big fan of their uppers. I've had trouble with the.
They're just as bad as Radical. That's why.
No, the Bear Creek would be a solid purchase. I think you'd be okay there. My Bear Creek, we have 3 Bear Creek ARs in the family. Never had issues.
I mean Delta Team Tactical.
Yeah. You know, one of the kind of drawbacks to 458 SOCOM, like 4570, you're looking at $150 and $3 a round. It's not an inexpensive round to shoot. But again, somebody like me who's already got an AR, already has all the furniture, already familiar with the manual of arms, you get that upper, slap it on, put an optic on, and I've got a nice takedown rifle, a nice heavy, rifle I can use for 200-yard or less engagements, that's hopefully going to drop it within one shot. So chime in, guys.
If you already cast for 45-70, it's handy too.
Yeah.
Save you some money.
Thing is from your description, man, it's not outperforming 44 Magnum in a 22-inch barreled rifle. So what the hell's the point?
Again,
Semi-automatic suppressibility is huge.
you know, the intention was for the military market. They needed something to drop human targets at 200 rounds or less because the 5.56 wasn't doing it in the kind of combat they were dealing with. And again, like Clover just said, subsonic, suppressed, potent round, no messing around kind of round. And it's just available to us. So, you know.
Shorter barrel for optimal powder burn. I mean, you're looking at about 10-inch for optimal. I mean, you don't need that 22 or even that 16-inch with it. So, I mean, smaller profile. It's going to be a lighter rifle, you know, typically. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at military application or something like that in particular.
But you have to think that in my particular application, I'd have to buy the whole gun because I don't have any ARs here at all.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, completely, Tony.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be a purpose-driven thing, and that's what my 458's purpose-driven. It's a silent pig thumper, man.
Yeah, that's another one is the hog. The feral hog hunting market loves that round. I mean, that's, you know, all you find. I don't know if there's any bolt action 458 SOCOMs out there yet.
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
I couldn't really find any when I was looking around. I did find a ton of ARs, everybody from Radical to CMMG to Bear Creek Arsenal. Well, I mean, obviously the lower's an M4 lower, so it's not a big deal.
And that's fairly recent too, because you're right.
Yeah.
When the Tipujitsu came out with that, you know, Tromix was in on it, and then Rock River, I believe it was the first ones to actually license and do anything. Wilson Combat was the second, and for the longest, if it wasn't Tromix, Rock River, or Wilson Combat, you didn't have 458. And the reason I know that is because mine is all Wilson Combat upper, because that was the only 3 at the time when I built mine that you could go with. Now it's like you say, everybody and their dog makes them, and it's a lot easier to get. Ammunition is not only cost, but availability is going to be a big issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me. I reload by my brass. Starline, I think, is the only one
they make the brass
on it. I don't think anybody else even makes factory brass for it. But
no, it's just Starline only, I believe.
There's very few. Black Butterfly, you know, it's boutique market on the ammo. There's no white box Winchester or Remington UMC for it, for sure.
Now, there's something in all of that Clover just said that everybody out there are to keep in mind. And that's that when he bought his, he had 3 options, and now everybody's doing it. Don't go out there and buy the newest, latest, greatest thing unless you're willing to throw a lot of freaking money away that you wouldn't have to a year later.
On the
other side of that, Tony, is if people don't buy it, it'll die.
Well,
you'll have one company making that cartridge, one company making that platform, that gun, that whatever it is, and if there's not enough interest, you'll only have that one company making it, and the price will stay up. You won't have somebody make a different version of it, a different barrel length, a different action, So if there's interest in it, they will. Other companies will go there and go, "Ooh, we want to make some money off this too," and then you get your variety. Yeah. So.
Well,
but I also see what you're saying, though. I mean, if they haven't worked the kinks out of it, you're stuck with a lemon, or you paid $900 and somebody else, 10 years later pays $500 because now everybody's making one. And
I get it. I mean, I went Wilson Combat, so it's not like I went Bear Creek or some cheaper brand. So first of all, you got that. Second of all, I got lucky, honestly, because. And I say I got lucky. Let me back up. I don't mean that in a morbid way of six in the sound. But I placed an order, Wilson Combat, for the kit. Came with the barrel, the gas block, the gas tube, the bolt, carrier group, the bolt, and the muzzle for the flash hider, I believe. I had already bought the upper from Wilson Combat previously, but the kit was to put it together was back ordered. So anyway, I went ahead and I paid for it and ordered it. And they were like, "Oh, well, they should start shipping in 30 to 60 days," what Wilson Combat said. Well, in about 30 days, Sandy Hook happens. And we all know the story there. So it ended up being about 18 months before I ever even got my stuff to build that 458 upper.
Oh my God.
However, my price was locked in because I'd already paid for it.
Okay.
So if you go on Wilson Combat right now, I got mine for about a third of what that kit's going for now.
The complete rifles are around, aren't they $1,200 to start?
Yeah,
I was late last night when I was looking this up. Yeah.
It's on a Spikes lower with it's just got a mag full stock. It's not anything fancy, lower. Spikes lower for Spikes enhanced parts kit, I believe, in the lower. Might have a couple of little fancy accessories here and there, but it's not decked out by any means. And I might have $800 that whole rifle.
Yeah.
So I'm in it for the right money, regardless. I think that's more important is just being careful and making sure you pay, a reasonable price. I totally agree about jumping out there on the, being an early adopter. I did that with 300 Blackout too. I was an early adopter of 300 Blackout, so I'd already played that game a little bit.
Well, I wasn't pointing anything at you, man. I really wasn't.
No, we don't want no fighting with the leprechaun.
No, I just wanted to explain that.
No, that's fine.
I mean,
if you play it right. I agree with you, Tony, that you don't need to jump out there on a limb, but if you play the game right, sometimes it works out.
It's kind of like getting that new model car. It's the first year it comes out. Everybody wants it. It's in demand. It's in short stock everywhere. They are not offering any discounts on these things because they know they can make their money. So you wait and you get it a little bit later. And come to find out the first year they worked so hard to rush them into production because the demand was there that they got all kinds of recalls on it or something like that. On the other hand, in the first year, they put all the bells and whistles on it. And the second and third and fourth and fifth year, they said, we can take this option off and this option off and this and save some money in production. Nobody really wants this. So because you've got that first year model, yours is more collectible because you got the bells and whistles that they didn't have. You take a risk either way doing it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you say, well, what's the application? What's the point? Why not? I mean, if you can get yourself the upper, you just want to try it, and maybe that'll be a launch pad for maybe a nicer rifle down the road. I was looking at the Wilson Combat Recon model, and it's $2,250. It's a pricey little rifle, but like you said, Clover, you got in and got yourself a good deal, and you don't have to spend that kind of money. And the fact you can get into it for as low as $300 if you already have a lower, as high as whatever you want to spend. Yeah, why not give it a try? Maybe you want that good pig gun for close encounters through the brush, or you want that stout round for 150 yards.
The biggest why not, Travis? I think people have to. I get you. I mean, yeah. I'm a do you type guy.
Yeah.
But I seriously tell people on the 458 SOCOM to consider ammunition because if you drop $300 on an upper and you're like, you can find one box of ammo or something here, there, yonder that's $50 for a box of stupid ammo. Well, then you've done $300. You could have bought a handgun, a used handgun, or something for that kind of money that you could have got more enjoyment out of. So just be mindful and know that going in for sure.
To kind of point out the hypocrisy of what I said was when I bought my 1895 Marlin, I walked to the counter and I paid for it before it hit the store because they hadn't been able to get one for over a year. And I bought it before it got there.
Yeah.
So you didn't know when another one was going to come back in stock, so you jumped on it. The heck with the price.
Was that a GBL, Tommy?
Nothing wrong with that.
Cowboy.
Clover, real quick, got a question for you from the YouTube side. Calaveras 32 Special wants to know, what's your preferred projectile for the 458?
500 grain cast.
Okay, 500 grain cast round. Okay. I think that the FTX tip rounds are no longer in production. Is that true for 458 SOCOM? Like you can't just go buy them new, or are they still in production?
I don't think so. I think they've changed those up.
Yeah, they might. And when it comes to Hornady bullets, I'm not always.
It's probably something similar.
Yeah.
Because they change names on stuff like
the
AMAX and the ZMAX and the this Max.
FTX,
ATX. Crap, man. It's the same crap.
Yeah.
The FTX and then the GMX. It's GMX, I think, is what. GMX is solid copper, though. If I'm thinking correct. So I think they still make it. It's just a solid copper.
Okay. Hey, anybody else want to chime in on 458 SOCOM, or any thoughts or feelings or any ideas about it? I mean, like I said, you know, you got a solid point about the ammo. You just can't. If I either have to order it or make the 80-mile round trip to Cabela's and go get it, man, it'd be a tough one, especially if I'm dropping $3 a round, $60 for a box of 20, or $50 for a box of 20. It's, God, I don't know, man.
Just to answer Clover's question,